Hey guys, my name is Koushik and welcome back to Lambda Test. In this video, we are going to learn two concepts. The first one is the window handling, like what is window handling and how to handle multiple windows with the help of Selenium. Then followed by, we are going to learn what is a frame and how to handle a frame, or also we are going to deep dive and learn how to handle nested frame with the help of Selenium. So let's get started now. Let us understand what is a window, or technically it is also known as tab, right? For example, in this browser, I have two tabs. One is the Selenium from Lambda Test website, and another one is from my website, that is LetCode with Koushik. Now, if I plug this out, then of course it's a new window, right? So we can call it as a new window, or it's basically also known as technically a tab. So a window or a tab, both are technically same. In interview, they might ask you like, how do you handle a tab or how do you handle a window? Technically, both are same. Now let's see some example to understand. For example, here you can see like follow on Twitter. So once I click on that, it's going to bring up a new tab or a new window, right? So that is what window handling concept. Now you might ask me what's there to handle it, because as soon as I click on that, the focus is coming to this Twitter web page, right? But technically that will not happen with the Selenium. We have to switch, okay? I will tell you how to switch and all those, but let us understand the concept. Now, if I go and click on this like us on Facebook, you can see like again we are getting another tab, right? So this also like tab or window, as I said, both are technically same. And if I go and click on this below, right? So if you click on this follow all, you can see like we are getting only one, but actually there will be multiple. So here you can see by default Chrome blocks this. So Chrome is blocking, like allowing not allowing to open multiple tabs. So here we can click on like always allow. This is just to safety feature. In Selenium we don't have to set anything like this. By default it will open all the tabs. Okay, so I'm going to click on like allow pop-ups and I'm going to click on done. Now if I click on this follow all, you can see like I'm getting multiple windows. So here you can select 1, 2, 3, and yeah, we got around 3 plus 1 the main window. Okay, so what are the technical terms you have to remember is very simple. This first window, right, like the lambdatest.com/selenium playground, this is our main page or main window, we can say. And once we click on any of the button or hyperlink or any element in a web page, that is going to bring a new tab. Then it is known as child window. Okay, and this is like our parent or the main window, and followed by whatever based on some interaction a new window or tab is going to come, then that is known as child window. Okay, so here we have the feature to maximize. In certain cases it won't be available there based on the implementation, but the concept is very same. So when we open a new page for the first time, that is known as parent window or the main page, and followed by when we click on any of the element and that's going to bring a new tab, then that is known as child window. Okay, so I hope you are clear with the concept. Let us see the coding part now. Okay, so in my Eclipse editor, I have a Windows as a function, the testng runner, and here we have system.set property because we are going to execute this locally and we are going to see the changes. Then we'll try to execute the same in Lambda test platform. Okay, so here very simple code. I believe you remember this. So Chrome driver equal to new Chrome driver. That means we are going to run only in Chrome driver, and then we are going to say like driver.get and followed by the particular URL. Okay, now let's understand what is window handle and window handles. Okay, there are two functions. So when I say like driver dot get window handle, you can see that is going to return me a string here. Okay, so I can say like this is my parent window. Now let us understand like what this parent window is going to return us. Basically we know that it's a string, but it will have some like hexa values which will be unique identifier for each and every tab, for each and every session. Okay, so I'm just going to run this, and also I'm going to say like driver dot close. Yeah, now let's go and run this. It will just open the page and we'll get some window handle ID, and then it will close the browser. Very simple test. Yeah, that's it. Now if I go up, and here you can select the cd window and then followed by some hexadecimal value, hexa character value, right? So this is basically nothing but the unique identifier to the tab. For each and every tab there will be a unique identifier, and it will change based on the each and every session. So for the first session, if you're getting this value, in the next session, this will definitely change. Okay, just to confirm, I'm going to execute this one more time. Okay, so previously we noticed something like starting with C, and now we got like 349. Okay, so it will definitely change. That is how the implementation works. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to click on this particular button, follow on Twitter. Okay, so I'm going to right click and inspect, and let's go and find this one. So here I can say like it's within a tag. That means of course it's a link text. So I'm going to copy this, and here I'm going to say like driver dot find element and by dot link text, and then followed by the value. And always we have to trim the value in link text. We should not give the spaces. Dot click. So I'm going to perform the click action. Once I click on that, of course in the UI you can see like we are getting some window like this, right? And which has a title called profile slash Twitter, something like that, right? But let's go and try to print the title. Okay, so once I click on that particular element, I will just print the title. So driver dot get title, and let's store this here, and here I'm going to sys out. So we are expecting the one, since we have clicked on the follow on Twitter button, we are expecting the Twitter title, right? But that's not going to happen. Let me execute and show you the result. So here you can select, we got this guy called Twitter, but our script is already completed and this is not closed, right? But if you see, the parent window has closed because this Twitter page is basically my secondary, the child window. Here I am saying like driver.close, that means it will focus on the present, that is the current context of the driver. Okay, I'll tell you in detail. So here I have to, since I have clicked on this, I'm now expecting a new child window, right? So I have to switch to that child window. So here I have to say like driver dot get window handles. So here you can see like we have another function called get window handles. So here you can see plural form. That means of course it's going to return us multiple window handles. Okay, so I'm going to store that as a set of string. So by default it will return set of string. Internally it has implemented the linked hash set. Okay, now here I will say like window handles, and then followed by let's create an array list. Okay, so I'm going to create a array list or list basically, and that's going to be of type string list. I'll say like windows, something like that, equal to new, and then followed by array list, and within the constructor I'm going to pass all the window handles. Okay, so let us understand what this code is going to do. Okay, so here I have created a new array list, and where in the constructor I am passing the window handles. So we know that in the window handles function, get window handles function is going to return a set of string. Now I have whatever the values I'm going to get, I have pushed that to a list. Why I'm doing this in the sense like there are multiple ways to handle a window handling concept in Selenium. For example, you can use a loop based on the title, you can switch, or else simply we can use a list. We can get all the values from a set, and then we can use the get function from the list. Okay, let me tell you. So here I will say like window dot get of 1. Okay, so what is 1 in the sense like this window handles, right? So drive dot get window handles, now it has two windows. One is the parent window and the second one is the Twitter, the child window. Okay, so when I say get of 1, in the sense it will move to the, or it will switch the context to the child window, but it will not work directly. We have to say like driver dot switch to dot windows window, and then followed by I have to say the window handle name, that is window dot get of 1. Okay, so already we have discussed about this switch to function, right? In our alert video itself we have discussed like what is switch to and how to use the switch to. Similarly, we are going to switch our focus from the parent window to the child window. So for that I'm going to use this function called window, and where we have to pass the string. So what is string? String is basically the window handles we are getting in the runtime. Okay, so when I say get of 1, that means it will move to the child window. If I say get of 0, that will be in the parent window, that is the main window. Okay, now since I have moved to this parent window, if I try to print the title, let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to execute this one more time. Okay, now you can notice in previous code, drive.close close this main window, but not the child one. But in this time, it closed the child window, not the parent one. Why? Because here I have switched my focus to the child window, and now driver is referring to the child window. So if I say driver.get title, you can see the title. Basically, we are going to get something like Twitter. Okay, and also when I say driver.close, that means now the child window is closed, not the parent window. Now you might ask me, hey Koushik, what if I want to close both the tabs, right? Or how many open tabs are there? You want to close it. Then the simple answer is here we have to use like driver.quit. So driver.quit in the sense it will close all the active session browsers, whereas close will focus on the particular targeted browser or targeted window. Okay. Now let me try to run this one more time. So here you can see Twitter browser is also opened and the same also. Okay. So here now we can see like the title is not loaded fully. So that's why we didn't get. We can solve this with the help of wait also, but maybe in some another video. Okay. Now let me try to print this one also, this page also. Okay. So here I'm going to say like driver dot get title, and this is going to be my parent. So let's log it out. So I just added two log statement. One is the for the parent window and another one is the child window. Now, when I say driver.quit or driver.close or driver.find element, everything is going to happen in the child window. But let's say that we are on this Twitter page and we have click on the follow, and that's it. We are done with this page. Now, again, I have to come back to my original window, that is the parent window, right? So in that case, even though this browser is going to close, this tab is going to close, it will not switch automatically. We have to make a switch. So for that, again, we have to say like, here I will just add a comment. So here I can select driver dot switch to dot window, and here I can give the window handle name again. Either already we have this list where I have the multiple window keys or the string values. I can use it, or else already I have used this window handle that will be always my parent window, right? So I can simply say like parent window, and that's it. Now this will again bring up the focus from the child window to the parent window. So here I can say like again I can give a sysout statement. Okay, now let's try to execute this one. Yeah, so here you can see like in the first time the parent window has a title called Selenium Grid, that is our Lambda test website, and then followed by the child window title is nothing but Twitter, and then we are again getting back to the we are changing our focus from the child window to the parent window. So that's going to be our again our same title as our first the parent window title. Okay, so that's it. It's very simple. Okay, now here what are the exception you can get is very simple. Okay, so for example, instead of get of 1, I'm going to say like get of 2. Okay, we know that we have only two windows, that is the first one, zeroth one is the parent window, and first one is the child window, that is the Twitter page. But if I say like 2, that means of course I don't have any uh, tabs related to that. So in that case, we are going to face an exception. Let us see what is the exception. It will be like no such window exception. It's actually a very easy concept. Just you have to remember the concept. I mean, the coding part is easy. The concept is little tricky, but it's easy once you get it. So always whenever we open the first page, that's like our parent page, and then followed by whenever we open the secondary page, that's going to be our child page. And mostly there will be in real time. You can expect like one window and one child window. In some interview they will ask you like, what if there are 100 windows, how will you handle it, all those stuff. I don't think that's a good UI implementation. If I'm the tester, I will say like, why we have to give 100 user, how user is going to interact with that, right? So those are useless question to me. But yeah, if you have to answer it, then it's very simple. So whatever the window we are going to get, just we have to give it here. Okay. Now coming back to the exception. So of course we got an exception, and it says like index out of bound exception. Basically, in the list we don't have that much, so we are getting index out of bound exception. Okay. And when we will get no such window exception, in the sense like, um, if the window is already closed and we are trying to move to it, then we'll get the uh, no such window exception. Okay. So let me tell you that as well. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just simply select driver dot close, and here I'll say like driver dot get off one. Okay. So that means, um yeah, sorry, so here let it be one, and then I'm going to move it back here. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to switch to the child window, then immediately I'm closing, and after that I'm trying to get the title. In this case we should accept, we can expect an exception. Let us see. Okay, so here we got the exception, and that's going to be no such window exception. That means the targeted window already closed. So what we are doing here is, we are switching to the child window, which is correct. But after that, I'm closing that particular window, and then again I'm saying like driver.get title. So our focus is on the child window, and the child window is already closed by us, or maybe because of some issue. In that case, we'll like face this exception as no such window. And here if I say like 2, we have only one, 0 and 1, that means 2. But yeah, in terms of index we have 1, 0 and 1. But when I say 2, since the list doesn't have that value, it will throw us list out of bound exception. Okay. So that's it for this window handling concept. I hope you understood, and if you have any queries, please feel free to ask in the comment. Now let's move to the next topic. Let us learn about the frame and the nested frame. So here I have a very simple website called letcode.in/frame, and here you can select, we have to enter our first name, last name, and then followed by the email address. That's it, very simple, right? So let's go and do that. So I'm going to right click and inspect this particular element called first name text box, and here we can say like we have a name called fname, and that should be unique, I guess. And yeah, so here how to check unique is very simple. Like we can write the XPath based on that. So double slash star and then followed by at the rate name equals the value. Okay. So let's go and give this. If it's going to return one of one, that means of course it's a unique, right? So I'm going to copy this, and instead of writing XPath, I'm just going to take the F name. This is just to show you that how to find the element if it's unique or not. Okay. So here I'm going to say like driver dot find element by dot name, and then followed by I'm going to give the value, which is fname, and then of course I'm going to type my name here. So I will just give like Koushik, and yeah, that's it, right? So it's pretty easy. Already we have discussed like how to find the locators, how to interact with an elements, right? So I'm going to run this now. Let's see what happens. Okay, the page is getting loaded, and once it loaded fully, then we can say like we didn't get the value as Koushik, right? Now if I go here, you can see like it says like no such element. Already we discussed about no such element. That means the element we're trying to find is not available in the page. But of course we know that that is available. So what is the issue? Let us go and uh, see the DOM again. Okay, so if I go to this input and if I go little upward, and here you can see probably like we have a frame here. Okay, so yeah, so here you can select this blue color, right? So the highlighted blue color, that portion, that particular page is within the frame. So what is frame? Frame is basically, we know the HTML structure, right? The DOM structure. So there will be like HTML, and within that we have like a body, and within the body we'll have like div, text box, input, and select, and a lot of things, right? Now here and HTML is embedded within HTML, so that is known as frame. Why we have like this is based on the requirement. For example, some website use just to embed the advertisement, or probably if I have to get API request from different server and I don't want to be part of my particular web page, then probably I can use the iframe or the frame. So what is frame and iframe is very simple. Both are technically more of same. Frame is considered to be a little older version, whereas iframe is considered to be newer version. So if I go above this HTML, here you can see like I have a iframe, and that has the ID called first fr and the name also first fr, and then followed by we have like src frame UI. Okay, so if an element is there within the frame, then first of all we have to switch to the frame. Once we switch to the frame, then the normal interaction how we used to learn so far, like handling the drop down or handling the inputs, everything is going to be same. Okay, so I'm going to copy this ID here, and here before interacting with this particular element, I'm going to switch to the frame. So here syntax is very same, driver dot switch to, and here we have to select frame, and here you can select we have overloaded functions. We can handle the frame in three ways. One is the index, that is starts from 0, and then followed by frame, that is string name or ID, and another one is the web element. So we can find the element based on ID, XPath, CSS, any kind of locator, and we have to pass that locator. We'll see all the three possibilities. Okay, so first of all we go with the name or ID. Okay, so here in my case the name and ID both are same, so we can give any one of them, that should work fine. Okay, so I will just pass it as a normal string. Okay, now I'm going to execute this. And here you can see now the value whatever we have passed in the sendKeys function, that has been typed, right? So it's very simple concept. Okay, now there is also of course another way. So I'm going to comment it out, and I'm going to say like driver dot switch to dot frame, and here I'm going to pass the index as 0. Okay, now let's go and run this one more time, and it should work fine. Now you might ask me, hey Koushik, there are three functions. So to switch the frame, so which one is recommended? So recommended is basically based on number of frames you have. If you have only one frames in your page, probably you can go with the index. Or if there is a static locator like your name or the index, then probably you can go with that as well. Okay, and we got some exception. Let's see what is that. So here again it says like no such element, unable to find. Okay, and here I have said like driver.system frame of 0, which is correct, but still we are getting some error. Let's go and inspect this particular page. Okay, so here I'm going to search for double slash, then followed by iframe. Okay, so here you can select actually I have 11 frames. Okay, so I was wrong, this is in the second position, so I have to pass my index as 1. Okay, so here I'm going to change this as 1, and let's try this one more time. See, in this particular example itself, we have like multiple frames. So moving to the frame with the help of index might not be very useful. And few websites are based on ads. Like this website, letcode.in, is basically based on number of ads. So when there are number of ads are more, then of course the index might change. So using index might not be useful in this particular scenario. Okay, I'm not saying that should be restricted. We can use it, but in a condition. Okay, so here you can see like it's working fine. Okay, one more example is basically based on the a particular web element. Okay, so here you can see like we have something like src equal to frame UI, right? So I'm just going to copy this, or I'm going to write an XPath for this. So double slash iframe and where at the rate src equals frame UI. Okay, so this is one way of finding frame. So here I'm going to say like driver dot find element by dot xpath, and I'm going to pass my xpath. That's going to return me a web element. Let's say that this is going to be my frame element, and then I have to say the same driver dot switch to dot frame, and then followed by the frame element, that is my web element. Okay, now if I try to execute this, of course it should work. Let's see. It worked, right? That's it, very simple. Now let us go and try to find the second element, that is this last element. Okay, so last element also has a L name called L name, so I'm going to copy that. And by the way, we are already in the frame, right? So do I have to find the frame again to interact with another element which is within the same frame? Definitely no. So already we have switched our focus from the parent page to the, or we can say parent frame to the child frame. So we don't have to switch again. Simply I can say like driver dot find element by dot name here, and then followed by dot send keys, and then followed by my last name, that is Chatterjee. Okay, that's it, very simple. Okay, so I'm going to stop my existing script. Yeah, it stopped already, so I'm going to close this browser, and let's add this driver.quit as well, so browser won't be open. Okay, now let's go and run this one more time. Watch it carefully, it will be really fast. Yeah, it's really fast. So I'm just going to comment this driver.quit as of now, just to show you the output. Yeah, so first name is there and last name is also there, right? So that's a very simple thing, right? Now let's go and do one more thing. Okay, so here you can select we have a email. So I'm going to inspect this one, and here we can select we have a name called email. So I'm going to copy that, and here I'm going to say like driver dot find element by dot name, and then followed by the email, and then followed by dot send keys and some at some.com, something like this. Okay, of course it's not my email, just to type something. Okay, so I'm going to execute this now. Let's see what happens. First name is typed, last name is also typed, but after that if you scroll down you can see email is not entered. And if I go to the console, you can see like again we are getting no such element exception. Why? Because if I go to the UI, you can see like this particular input, right? So if I scroll little up, you can see here again we have a iframe. That means I have a iframe, within that I have again a iframe. So HTML is the parent frame or parent page, I can say. Within that I have a HTML page. Within that I have another HTML page, that is nothing but a nested frame. Okay, so how to handle the nested frame? It's going to be very simple, same concept only. Okay, so here since I don't have any of the ID or name, I'm going to write the XPath for this. Let's go and search that one. So here I can see in CSS, which is like iframe has unique has background white. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste. Yeah, I'm getting one of one, right? Now where I have to find this element. Okay, so here already I am switching to the frame. Within the frame again I have another frame. So after this interaction I'm going to navigate within my nested frame here. Okay, so here I'm going to say driver dot find element by dot css selector, and this is my css selector, and this is going to be my inner frame, or also we can say like nested frame. Okay, then again I have to say the same. So driver dot switch to frame, and here I have to give my frame name as a inner frame. Okay, so let's go and run this one more time. My internet is little slow here. That's why it's taking much time to load. So here we go with first name, last name, and then if I scroll down, you can see the email as well, right? So that's it, very simple. Now, let's say that I have typed my email address, then I want to change my first name here. Okay, I want to change my first name here. Okay, so you might be wondering that already we have this first name, that is this one, right? This particular line. So can I copy paste and will it work? It will not work, right? Because this is currently we are within the nested frame, and that particular name, first name, is within the parent frame, right? So what I have to do is, again, I have to switch back my context from the nested frame to the parent frame. How to do it? Very simple stuff. Okay, so here I will just add a comment like parent frame, and here I can select driver dot switch to, then followed by parent frame. Okay, so parent frame in the sense from the nested will go one step above, one level up. Okay, and then I can simply copy this and paste over here. Okay, now before that I'll change this to like LetCode, and since we are using send case without clear, that should be appended. Okay, so let's go and run this one more time. Okay, so here you can select it, typed Koushik first, then followed by Chatterjee, then my email, and again we have switched to the parent frame, and now we got like LetCode Koushik. Okay, it's very, very simple. So if you want to interact with an element which is inside a frame, first of all we have to switch to that particular frame, and then we have to do the interaction. Now if you want to come out of the frame, we have two functions. One is the parent frame, that means let's say that we have main page. Okay, let's consider that as a 0, and frame is my first frame is my 1, and second frame is my 2. Okay, now I am in the second level, that is the nested frame. If I want to go to the first frame, I can simply say switch to parent frame. But from the nested frame, if I want to go to the parent page, then I have a function called defaultContent. Okay, so here I can say like, okay, let's take it like this one. Okay, so here I have to click on this login link text. Okay, so I'm just going to perform the click action. Okay, so here I will say like login dot click. If I run this without switching, of course we know that it's going to throw us error because it is outside of all the frames, right? So for that I'm going to say like driver dot switch to default content. Okay, so switch to default content in the sense, doesn't matter in which level of frame you are within the nested, definitely it will go out of all the frames and it will go to the main page. Okay, so I'm going to run this. Let's see. Yeah, so we are in the login page, right? That's it, very simple. Let me explain you one more time. Okay, so consider this is my parent page, that is the letcode.in/frame. Okay, and within that we have another frame which is nothing but our first name and the last name, and within that also we have another frame called email, right? Now this is our parent window. Okay, so we don't have to switch anything. We can simply say like drive.get, and whatever the elements within this particular area we can interact directly. But let's say that I have text box, and here also I have a text box. Then from the main page I have to go within this page, right? So for that we'll use the switch to frame, and that is done. Now from here I have to go to this particular nested frame, so again I have to say like switch to frame. Now, from this inner frame, if I directly want to interact with the main page, I can use the function called default content. But if I want to interact with one level up, that is my parent frame, I can say like switch to parent frame. That's it. Very simple. You can try it to yourself, and if you have any queries, feel free to ask me in the comments. Okay. And let us also learn how to run this with the help of Lambda test platform. Okay, so I'm just going to create a class here. Let's say that this is my going to be my config file. Okay, In the config file, we are going to have the basic code how to run in the Lambda test, right? So already we have discussed about it, so I'm just going to copy paste. Okay, so first of all, we need this before test, so I'm going to copy that. And also, like after all the test, I have to close my test, the browser, so I'm going to use the after test as well. Okay, that's it, very simple thing. Okay, now here we have very basic thing, like here we have this build as, like I will name it like Windows and frame, and interact with I'll say like Windows and frame as well. Okay, and we are going to run in the Windows 10 platform, and we are going to execute in the Microsoft Edge browser with the version called 97.0. And yeah, that's it. This is the Lambda test particular grid URL. Okay, so very simple thing. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to make it public, this remote WebDriver as a public, so that we can use in the different class as well. Okay, let's go to the window handling, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the extends here. Okay, so extends and then followed by config file. Of course, you can give it a better name. Just for understanding, I'm naming it like config file. Okay, and this system.set property we don't need now, and this driver also we don't need. So this driver is coming from where? This driver is coming from your remote WebDriver instance. Okay, similarly, we'll go to the handling frame, and here also we'll do the same changes. And first of all, we'll do the extends to the config file, and of course it should be execute within the testng. So let's name it like testng. Okay, so here we have two classes now. One is the window handling and another one is the frame. Okay, so both are extended to the config file. That means before each and every execution, from the config file, it will try to execute in the Lambda test platform. Okay, now I'm going to run both the files. So I'm just going to select both the files, and I'll then go to testng and convert to testng. So we are basically trying to create a XML file. Okay, and then I will just click on the finish, and it says like already you have a testng. Do you want to overwrite it? Yeah, it's fine. So we'll just click on overwrite. Okay, now let's log into the Lambda test platform. Okay, so we are within the platform now. Now let's see the beauty. Okay, so I'm going to my clips and I'm going to run this XML file. So run as testng suite. And if I go back to my Lambda test platform, so if I go to this automation section, so here you can select window and frames, both are executing, and it's basically running on the Windows 10 platform with the Microsoft Edge version of 97.0. We can execute in singular or also in parallel, and also we can do some configurations. So instead of running in same browser, I can make my test to execute in one browser and another test in one browser. We'll see that in detail in the next video. Okay, so here let's go and click on this. It's completed actually. So here you can select both the test has completed. Okay, so interact with windows and frames, and here you can see we got around like 8 seconds and everything is done. Just to show you, I'm going to click on this video, and if I expand this, you can see like first of all it's going to the frame video, that is frame test case. Okay, and that's it, it got completed. Yeah, so the second one got failure because of our script issue. So here you can select index out of bound exception. So you already know that. But yeah, of course, the execution is completed. So if you want to see the report, you can see it from the Lambda test platform itself. Okay, so that's it for the video. I hope you have learned how to interact with multiple windows and also frames and nested frames. If you have any queries, feel free to ask me in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one very soon.